It is destructive, particularly for a Democrat, to be discrediting universal health care by waging a false campaign.
He does eliminate the Affordable Care Act, eliminates private insurance, eliminates Medicare, eliminates Medicaid, TRICARE, Children's Health Insurance Program.
We don't eliminate Medicare. We expand Medicare to all people.
Since when do Democrats attack one another on universal health care?
Just for the record, are you a progressive or are you a moderate?
I'm a progressive.
I take a backseat to no one when you look at my record and standing up and fighting for progressive values.
You know, I get accused of being kind of moderate and center. I plead guilty.
I never took a position on Keystone until I took a position on Keystone.
We're either going to be dependent on dirty oil from the Gulf or dependent on dirty oil from Canada.
As president, would you sign a bill allowing the Keystone XL pipeline?
If it's undecided when I become president, I will answer your question. I think it is imperative that we look at the Keystone pipeline as what I believe it is, a distraction from the important work we have to do to combat climate change, and unfortunately, from my perspective, one that interferes with our ability to move forward to deal with all the other issues. Therefore, I oppose it.
Well, why do they make millions of dollars of campaign contributions? They expect to get something. Everybody knows that.
I represented New York, and I represented New York on 9/11. When we were attacked, where were we attacked? We were attacked in downtown Manhattan, where Wall Street is. I represented Wall Street as a senator from New York, and I went to Wall Street in December of 2007, before the big crash that we had, and I basically said, cut it out. Quit foreclosing on homes.
Now, who's exactly to blame for the housing crisis? I think there's plenty of blame to go around. Home buyers who paid extra fees to avoid documenting their income should have known they were getting in over their heads.
We cannot keep imprisoning more people than anybody else in the world.
This bill would have put more police on the street, would have locked up violent offenders so they never could get out again, would have given more prison construction money.
They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel.
Well, actually, I have been very consistent over the course of my entire life. Take the trade deal.
We are making progress toward finalizing a far-reaching new trade agreement called the Trans-Pacific Partnership. The so-called TPP will lower barriers, raise standards, and drive long-term growth across the region.
Now, looking back on it, it doesn't have the results we thought it would have in terms of access to the markets, more exports, et cetera.
So are you saying that as of today, this is not something you could support?
As of today, I am not in favor.
Back in 1994, you said that momentum for a single-payer system would sweep the country. That sounds Sanders-esque, but you don't feel that way anymore. Why not?
Well, the revolution never came, and I waited. The revolution never came, and I waited, and I got the scars to show for it. The revolution never came.
Which enemy are you most proud of?
Well, in addition to the NRA, the health insurance companies, the drug companies, the health insurance companies, the drug companies.
Well, Kathy, there was just an AP article posted that found how Senator Obama's support among hardworking Americans, white Americans, is weakening again.
I was thrilled to celebrate with you when fast food workers won a $15 minimum wage in New York. A big victory in your important efforts to fight for 15.
If we went to $15, there are no international comparisons.
Australia, where the minimum wage is over $16 an hour.
That is why I support a $12 national federal minimum wage.
Your fights are my fights.
We will have a wall.
Look, I voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in.
I am, adamantly against illegal immigrants. Certainly, we've got to do more at our borders, and people have to stop employing illegal immigrants. Come up to Westchester, go to Suffolk and Nassau counties, stand in the street corners in Brooklyn or the Bronx. You're going to see loads of people waiting to get picked up to go do yard work and construction work and domestic work.
Because we're losing a lot of people because of the internet. And we have to do something, maybe in certain areas, closing that internet up in some way. Somebody will say, oh, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. These are foolish people.
You're going to hear all of the usual complaints, freedom of speech, etc. But if we truly are in a war against terrorism, then we've got to shut off their means of communicating.
I have been very consistent over the course of my entire life.
I oppose the deal. I will vote against the deal, and I will do everything I can to urge the Congress to reject the Colombian free trade deal. One of our top goals is to complete free trade agreements with Colombia and Panama. Yesterday's unfortunate events in Honduras. The United States has been working with our partners in the OAS to fashion a strong consensus condemning the detention and expulsion of President Zelaya and calling for the full restoration of democratic order in Honduras. We need to show humanity.
You're going to have to send people out.
Because we're seeing these thousands of children come across, shunted off into makeshift shelters.
It's horrible.
Hard choice. Let them stay in the United States or send them back.
Well, 2 quick points. One, the numbers are increasing dramatically. And the main reason I believe why that's happening is that the violence in certain of those Central American countries is increasing dramatically. And there is not sufficient law enforcement or will on the part of the governments of those countries to try to deal with this exponential increase in violence, drug trafficking, the drug cartels. And many children are fleeing from that violence.
Should they be able to stay here? It's safer.
It may be safer, but that's not the answer. I do not.
So should they be sent back?
We have children 5 and 6 years old who have come up from Central America. We need to do more to provide border security in southern Mexico.
They should be sent back now.
Well, they should be sent back, but we have to send a clear message. Just because your child gets across the border, that doesn't mean the child gets to stay. So